Hi, this is Sean Blackshear, life insurance broker for First Family Life Allegiance. Did you know that life insurance not only will cover you if you pass away, but it's also used to build a legacy for your family? It can also help you generate income, it can protect your mortgage, and it can cover you with any kind of medical affliction. Please contact me at 314-374-3412. Or please drop me a message on Facebook and like the page at First Family Life Allegiance, or go to my website, firstfamilylifeallegiance.com, and schedule an appointment, and I'll call you at a time that works for you.
Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate you coming on with us and what's your take here.
Yeah.
So where are you originally from, Andre?
So I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio. I was born and raised there, and went to undergraduate at Northwestern University in Chicago, and then went to graduate school at NYU, or went to film school at Tisch School of the Arts, and was right after college at Northwestern, came out to LA for a brief period. And that was the first couple of jobs that I had, working for some fantastic producers, Kevin Misher and Doug Wick, who still to this day are friends of mine and mentors and supporters of my work, and was in LA for a couple of years before getting into NYU and headed back over to New York. And so it was just kind of crisscrossing the country for a couple of years before finally settling in sunny California. So
I was about to say, your immune system must be strong. You done went from every weather climate.
I didn't know.
Out there.
I didn't know how strong it was. I tell you, it's like I always knew that I had a strong stomach, which was like my claim to fame in high school. I went to an all boys high school, where we didn't have anything to do but prank each other. And so I knew I had a strong stomach, but I going from, one climate to the other, and kind of back and forth. I was surprised, and I've never gotten the flu, which is interesting. Living in New York, it's like I remember one time when my oldest son, when he was about 2. He's 6 now, that I was certain that I had the flu, because I was like, I've never had the flu. And the doctors were like, nope, it's just a cold. You just got a cold. It's like, must spend plenty of time in those New York subways, touching everything, you know what I mean?
It's right.
Who the hell knows? But
definitely wouldn't want to be in one of those subways today, though.
Oh God, no. I don't play around with that stuff at all.
I'll walk.
You'll see me wearing a mask from here until eternity.
There it goes.
No, not at all.
Gotcha.
I love it.
So what inspired you to want to be a producer? That's kind of where I want to start. Like, was it like a childhood dream, like, one day, or did you, think about being an actor, or, where
it's weird. I mean, I think probably the greatest motivating factor is money. As a producer, that's what we do. We handle all the money. I mean, it's something I grew up with. My dad, was a businessman and politician and real estate developer, and really kind of imbued in me this sort of understanding of finance. That was his background. Same thing with my mom, really teaching me about credit at an early age. I had kind of the luck of the draw when it came to parents kind of explaining, how money works and how the world works and that kind of thing. So I knew that was always going to be part of any career that I was going into. And when I was in, as far back as high school and college, writing and directing plays and producing content and, all types of things like that, it was sort of a left brain, right brain, organic marriage for me. I understand the business side just as well as I understand the creative side, and it's a talent that I have, and it was something, a skill that I continued to kind of build and nurture over time. And so I knew it wasn't very specific to like producing. You know, it wasn't until meeting Kevin and meeting Doug. Kevin was the former president of Universal Studios, you know, Doug over at Sony. Really, it wasn't until meeting those guys that I understood what a producer does.
Okay.
But I did want to make movies.
Okay.
You know, and it's like if you're not in the business, you don't know kind of what all the, you know, people don't even sit around and wait for the credits. You know, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
or you know, get up and leave.
Well, look, unless it's a Marvel movie.
Unless it's Marvel, right?
Unless it's a Marvel movie, because they got you hooked. You know, they're gonna throw a scene in there so they can keep you hooked for the next one. And so
that's right.
People started getting hip to that. No, it's a good little trick. I started using that for some of my movies because I know you fools don't wait around looking at these credits.
That's right.
It's like, oh, the movie is over. It's time to go. I got to go.
Oh yeah, like grab the coat. Let's go.
But you see all those credits, and it's like, yeah, you know, it takes like 8 billion people to make a movie. It's like, what do all these people do? And the producer's at the top of the list there. So it was just kind of like, what does that guy do? And that the producer's really the entrepreneur of the movie, movie and TV shows. You know, we find the content, we find the money, you know, or finance it ourselves, and we find the right director, we find the right writer, you know, we have relationships with the stars and we get them involved, and, you know, relationship with the distributor. So it's all of the pieces, and it's a talent and a skill of knowing the right people to put in those right positions that, you know, will work well together and will work well with you. And so that was always an exciting opportunity for me.
Nice. Let me ask you this. Do you have a favorite project that you've done?
Probably Lady in the Dale.
Henry Ford said, you catch things on the rising tide, you're doomed to success.
She wanted to be known as a trailblazer. As any good criminal, she was thinking several moves ahead.
America in the early 70s, anybody could be anything they wanted to be. I got a mother of 5 who's invented a car. Is she famous? No, but she's going to be.
I'm going to knock the hell out of Detroit.
She thought that she would be the next Henry Ford.
It's a situation of David fighting Goliath.
She was afraid of spies from the big three.
There was a briefcase full of cash, and next to it, the .357 Magnum revolver.
It was a house of cards.
Law enforcement agencies started taking a closer look, and the press turned on her and said, this is a scam.
When they couldn't decide if the car was real or not, they started focusing on Liz. She was on trial as a trans person.
When the police started swarming in the house, they got her because she came back to say goodbye to her kids.
She was ahead of her time. She knew the pain.
She took it upon herself to defend herself in front of the jury. This is a woman who knew how to inspire.
She was one of those people that could sell anything.
The defendant has been charged with a plot to murder some of the witnesses.
It was just crazy. Someone started shooting.
This person was totally unknown until she showed up in Los Angeles promoting a 3-wheel car. Who the hell was she? People need a hero. That's what America's all about.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you know, the show that's out right now, man. I mean, you know, it's like people hear these things just kind of magically happen, but the director Nick Camilleri, one of the co-directors, the other director Zachary Drucker, Nick had been researching this thing for like 8 years before it arrived to my doorstep, you know, and came to my partner Alan Bain, and he brought it to me. We were looking at it together, and we're just like, man, there's something here. This is not your run-of-the-mill thing that you kind of get circulating. And it was the only unsolicited inquiry that we've ever answered. What that means is that, you know, it's just coming out of nowhere. Most of the time, we're only allowed to accept content submissions from agents and managers, really just kind of for legal protection. But every now and again, some random filmmaker will find your information and send you something and say, hey, it's great. And I always say, just because people don't have representation doesn't mean that they don't have great taste. And this guy, you know, really had fantastic taste and knew what it is that this project was and stuck with it long enough to ultimately find somebody who cared. And we cared and took it to Mark and Jay Duplass, and they fell in love with it. Took it to HBO, they fell in love with it. You know, it's one of those rare circumstances where everybody falls in love with it the first time you tell them about it. So it's really the biggest opening of any one of our projects. Mark and Jay, me, Alan, Nick, Zachary. It's really the largest opening that we've had of any project. I mean, a lot of people don't realize like how television works, and you know, for your audience, for instance, on HBO, Sunday night is like the prime time spot for anything to premiere. You know, this was Game of Thrones territory. This is Game of Thrones territory. This is Westworld territory. This is Lovecraft Country territory. This is, you know, you get to watch your favorite show before you got to get up the next day and go to work. And for them to take this show and to put it in that slot says a lot. And even more so, you know, it being a documentary series, you don't normally see that. And it really is a testament to how much they believed in the project from the get-go, and how positive the reviews have been through and through. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I sat and watched all 4 episodes, and oh man, I am such a huge fan of yours now. That I was like, wow, because this, you know, for our listeners out there, I would have, you know, we give a GTS score. I would definitely give this one a 10 because this one had everything. I mean, it you know, you think you're watching it about the car, right? But then you got the transgender issues are in there, and then you have the you got a little espionage in there. You know what I mean? She is. I mean, just her relationship with the law.
The mob in there. You got all types of stuff.
It was everything.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and Sarah and I were just joking about how, you know, neither one of us are really documentary people. But
not at all.
Please touch on whose idea was it to add the animation? That kept me going the whole time.
Yeah, you know, my background, my company Cinemation, which is, you know, the other company with Duplass Brothers on that whose name you see on the series that produced it. My background was in animation. That's really how I started my company, Cinemation Studios, was animation and visual effects. We kind of got out of producing animation exclusively. I would say in the last 5 years or so. One of our last major films, which was called The Immortal Warrior, starring Rodrigo Santoro, went to Amazon. You know, and but it really was a group decision, and it happened very organically because we had a deficit of archival material of Liz Carmichael, like old school footage from the 70s and stuff. It was enough to make like a single movie, but it wasn't enough to make a 4-part series.
Sure.
And we need to spread it out a little bit. So we knew from the beginning that we were going to need to do some reenactments. But most of the time, you know, you see in these true crime stories just cheesy.
Oh, man.
Right.
You know, it's like terrible reenactments of like some actors that kind of look like the people, and their faces obscured and they're shooting behind the shoulder, and it just looks awful. And so we're like, we want to stay the hell away from that, as far away from that as possible. And so we were just like, well, what about, you know, animation? What do we do, you know, there? And it's like, so I sent to the group a whole, you know, some homework. You know, I said, listen, you guys, there's all different styles, there's all different types. Like, here's some examples of things I think that might work. And to the credit of the editors that were working on it, we really needed some placeholders for the animation while we were figuring out the story. And so they put this kind of cut and paste photorealistic animation in there. And, you know, we were just like, this is weird at first. Yeah. And then they saw the next cut and we're like, you know, I think we kind of like this. And then we showed it to HBO and they're like, yeah, we kind of like this too. And I said, you know, what if we polish this thing up? What if we really give it a serious broadcast ready treatment, you know, with all the colors and all of this and that. And man, it just blew our minds away. I mean, we were flabbergasted by it. It was just amazing, and HBO was loving it. And so it came about as this kind of organic thing. And you know, that's one of the blessings of our job, is the creative process in and of itself is an organic beast. You know, it's an organic living thing that, you know, you may be sitting in a writer's room or you may be sitting in an edit room or something, and somebody just kind of comes up with something and you get immediate feedback because everybody's there in the room with you and can kind of say, oh, that's a great idea, that can work. So yeah, we were excited to finally share that with everybody. And you know, it's got serious moments, it's got, you know, anxious moments, it's got you know, thrilling moments. It kind of has everything in between. So I'm glad you liked it.
Yes,
it definitely played more like a movie than a documentary.
Yeah, I was going to say, I told Sean that. I was like, yeah, I had forgot for a second it was a documentary. I was like, wait, okay.
Right. Yeah, that was the idea, because it's kind of like, you know, with the photorealistic nature of it, by taking Liz Carmichael's head and the heads of the family and stuff like that, you can actually tell the story as it's happening. And that's really how narrative filmmaking, you know, works. And more documentaries, you know, I know you guys said you're not huge fans of them, but more of them now are more narrative than they ever have been. You know, they feel like scripted films more now than they ever have been. And hopefully this helps take it even further to the next level.
Yes, I'm looking forward to any other documentaries that you have coming out in the near future. While we're in that lane, so hey, are there any future projects that you can talk about that you could share with us?
Oh yeah, I know what you're getting at.
It's spoiler alert time.
Yeah, right. The Dick Gregory project for sure. I mean, you know, the St. Louis native. I can't say where it's going yet because we haven't made the announcement of where it's going to be. But yes, that will be coming out later this year, and it's a project near and dear to my heart. It's a, you know, passion project. When you hear that term floating around, it's something that we started, you know, filming Dick Gregory 6 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long, 2015. Wow. And I became really good friends with him up till the time he passed away in 2017, in late 2017. Him and his whole family, they're just beautiful, beautiful people and have such amazing spirits, and were so helpful in telling this story and pulling it all together. I mean, it's just, this man lived 100 lives, I mean, in one. And so to try to take those elements and bring them together in a way that feels natural, feels authentic, feels true to the subject, you know, and something that will be entertaining was a yeoman's task, and a burden I think that I was ready and willing to take on. I'll be honest to say I didn't realize how big of a burden it was when I first started it. Like I will be honest to say that, just because Dick Gregory had the gift of gab. So I was like, all right, you know, I'll just turn on the camera and just let him just, you know, start talking.
What do you do? Yeah.
Well, he didn't stop talking. He didn't stop talking. He was talking about everything. He literally, in like one breath, took me to the moon and to the White House. Like, and I was like, okay, we've got to figure out a way to kind of steer this ship a little bit. And he was not. He was the captain. He was in charge. Like, it was never a steering Dick Gregory. You just kind of have to follow and go wherever he goes. And but over time, and talking to him and sort of getting to know him and stuff like that, it really made sense how to tell his story. And it was to my surprise that there were multiple filmmakers, prominent ones whose names I won't mention here, that had attempted as far back as the mid 80s to tell the Dick Gregory story.
Wow.
And weren't able to do it. And mostly because of lack of financing. But that's what we do. That's my game. We finance movies. So I said, I'll just finance it myself. And that's what I did. So now it's finally coming out. I can't wait. Can't wait for you guys to see it. It'd be great.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, with somebody as that you said lives 100 lives. Yeah. Is it, when you walk into the project, is it like, I have to make sure my audience leaves with this one thing, or is it? It is. Yeah. Okay.
No, it is. It's a good question, because you can't tell it all. You really cannot. I mean, the Dick Gregory project is like Exhibit A in this thing, because we did smaller films, like 25-minute versions of it, to try to test out with audiences, showed it at a few festivals, kind of get some reaction, go back to the drawing board, kind of do trial and error like that, take our time to really get it right. And with someone like him, we had trouble with the Lady in the Dale, trying to tell that story in 4 parts. Mm-hmm. But it could have easily been 10 parts. Dick Gregory is like, 2-3 seasons worth of stuff. I mean, you just never run out of stories to tell about this guy, and so you really have to say, like, the term is kill your babies. It's like there's all these precious little things that you care about that you want the audience to know, but you got to leave them on the cutting room floor. There's just ultimately no room to include that stuff. So you gotta choose the things that you think are going to resonate, with the audience, that people are going to really love, and what you want them to take away from the story, and really kind of focus on that. And then, go in the back room and weep that you go cry, to your mom and say, I couldn't tell everything I wanted to. And, just say, get over it and move on. So that's kind of the nature of the beast, sadly.
Yeah, the editing process there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would be remiss if I did not ask, what was it like working with Spike Lee on The Sweet Blood of Jesus?
Yeah, so it's a fairly short answer on that, just because I was an investor on that film. So my interaction with him as it relates to that movie was very limited. But he was a professor at my film school at New York University, and would regularly drop knowledge on the students. I remember when I first met him, I was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed student in the lobby hanging out with some friends. I saw him at the elevator and bum rushed him. And went in the elevator, and I was like, you can't go anywhere. We got to go. We're trapped in this elevator. And, so you might as well talk to me. And he did. And it was just, a wonderful guy, and just incredibly smart. I mean, it's like you really get an opportunity to work with and be around some very smart people Spike Lee is really kind of takes the cake. I mean, Dick Gregory as well, just sort of one of these people that they're the smartest guy in the room, that they have something, nuggets of wisdom and nuggets of how to execute that wisdom that is unique to anything else that you've ever heard. And so I think that he just is he's an icon. He's a cinematic, he's a filmmaking icon. He's a pop culture icon.
Yes.
He was doing selfies before such a thing even existed. He was the writer, director, producer of his own projects before Tyler Perry was even a part of a conversation. He was just kind of all of the above, and really thank God for him.
Yes,
that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Andre Gaines.
Good to see your face, Sean.
Thank you, sir. I was sitting there like, man, I'm so pretty. I better just let him go and see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw you for a minute there. I saw the Golden Gate Bridge. I was like, he's going to jump off a bridge somewhere.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Yes, but it's definitely been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure being here. You guys do a great show. I'm glad to be on, and I've had the great fortune, I would say, of being surrounded by some really fantastic mentors and supporters, and the opportunities that I've gotten. Not without self-motivation and sort of self-starting, starting. That's sort of part of my kind of natural way of doing things, which was kind of easy for me to become a producer. But I think that the biggest thing is that, I tell people this all the time, that although Hollywood is a very small place, it's not made up of the most brilliant people on planet Earth. It's not that we're all freaking geniuses, for Christ's sake. It's the difference is that between somebody working in Hollywood and not working in Hollywood is just not giving up. Is right. the
wow.
ones who would stick around long enough. Case in point with The Lady in the Dale. This filmmaker was working on this thing for 8 years. I can't reiterate that enough before it showed up at my doorstep. And had he abandoned it in year 6, or gave it up in year 7, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, having to have the opportunity to tell that story and having the opportunity to talk to you two. So it's really the major difference between today's producers, today's writers, today's directors, and the ones who could have been.
Gotcha. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can stream The Lady in the Dale documentary on HBO Max. We are giving it, as Sean mentioned earlier, we have a GTS score. It's our got to see it score from 1 to 10. We're definitely giving it a 10.
Oh, thank you.
It's a must see.
Yeah.
Okay. And coming from us, because we like.
Yeah, right. You're not a big documentary fan. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, right.
Well, we are now.
Well, that's a testament. Yeah, that's a testament that you sat there and actually watched it. That's
right.
Really,
that's right.
Yeah. So I'm glad you did. I thank you guys for having me on. It's been great.
So we'd like to let the audience know what are your social media tags, so we can get some following for you and all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Andre Gaines, I'm at Andre Gaines on Twitter, and then Andre L Gaines on Instagram, and I'm easily reachable. Information on IMDb Pro for people who are kind of in the business or want to be in the business. That's a service people can sign up for. It does cost money, but it really gives you, like when people think about access, for instance, I remember the days when I used to have to search all over the web to try to get information for somebody I wanted to get in contact with. And so many of my relationships, it's like, you don't know people, fine, we'll get to know them. Dick Gregory was a cold call for me. I didn't know Dick Gregory.
Wow.
I just picked up the phone and called him. Same thing with so many of my relationships, even foreign relationships. So people can find, information about me and a lot of other producers really on IMDb. And it's a way to get in and contact folks.
Awesome. Yes, I use IMDb almost as much as the Bible.
Yeah, right.
Like it's my go-to reference.
It's our go-to reference. We have Studio System, which is like a more insular and invitation-only type platform for information sharing amongst the industry. But IMDb is like the social network version of that, which is open to everybody. And so a lot of producers and companies and everybody are just as pay as much attention to making sure that their information is up to date on IMDb than they even do Studio System, because Studio System really has a team of people that work to keep all of that information and data kind of up to date. But IMDb has that team as well, but you're also on there like a social network just as much. So for people who don't have access to stuff, that's what I'm saying. It's the internet. Everything can be found on the internet.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The great equalizer. So that's where folks can find me on social media, and then make sure that they tune in to Lady in the Dale on HBO Max. All 4 episodes are up now.
All 4. Yes, all 4.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining What's Your Take Media for this awesome episode. We hope to have you on again for future projects. Ladies and gentlemen, get to know the name Andre Gaines.
Thank you, guys. I'll be definitely coming back. I appreciate it.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay. I'll see you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.